They're starting to disassemble this team piece by piece. This was all set in motion by the series of events that happened late in Super Bowl 49, Skip. And this is just the first wave. Now, last year, remember, they tried to trade Richard Sherman. Michael Bennett is 32 years of age. He has a $3 million roster bonus due, I think, March 18th. So you know when you have these large roster bonus, you get over the age of 30 and you're not a quarterback, they're looking to go in a different direction. Now, unless you have, you getting 13, 14, 15 sacks a game, that's one thing. Because that $8 million cap hit is not a lot of money for a Pro Bowl player, Skip Bailey. You and I both know that. The Legion of Boom, as we know it, will soon be no longer. Now, Cliff Averill, even though he's not a part of the secondary, he's probably going to have to retire because of that neck injury. Cam Chancellor, the same fate probably is going to happen to him. Earl Thomas is in the final year of his contract. He saw what Eric Berry got. I don't know if Seattle's going to be willing to go to that number this late in his career. So, as we know the Legion of Boom, the Seattle, the defense, because I believe they're going to construct this team around Russell Wilson. They believe he's now their best player. That is their best chance of winning. So they're going to start getting pieces for him, probably improve the offensive line. They need to go get a running back. That's what they need more than anything because they can run. I mean, you can't have your quarterback accounting for 97% of touchdowns, be it throwing or running. That was even more than Cam Newton, and we know how valuable a piece of that offense that he is. But, Skip, I'm not surprised by this. And I said it at the time that it happened. I went on the next morning, did a podcast called Mouthing Off, and I said it.
I like that title.
Yeah, a little something, Joy, a little something.
Yeah.
I said.
That kind of sums them up, right?
As we know this team, they will never, ever be the same because they had an opportunity to do something really special, Skip, because they had a chance to do them back-to-back. And so few teams, because think about it, the Patriots had an opportunity to do it back-to-back. So it's not easy, but they were in prime position to do it back-to-back. Skip, they never got over this. They never forgave their head coach. And ever since that moment, you saw the defense started bucking more and more. They were not only outspoken, they were openly, blatantly outspoken and very disrespectful because Richard Sherman on a Thursday night, he went to Pete Carroll and said, "You will not sacrifice our hard work." He believed in Super Bowl 49 that Pete Carroll sacrificed their hard work. And they never forgave him for that. They still upset at Russell Wilson because they said they believed that he had the moxie. He was a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and he should have said, "Nope, we're going to run this football." So they hold Pete Carroll most responsible, but they still have never forgiven Russell Wilson either. Skip, this is the beginning. But piece by piece, this thing is going to become disassembled.
So once upon a time, a former Atlanta Falcons coach named Jerry Glanville, I think you know Jerry from your home state.
Yep.
Called the NFL not for long. And
it.
this is shockingly not for long. To your point, that was the turning point, that last play of the Super Bowl game. And from that point forward, the Legion of Boom became the Legion of Doom, as in they were all doomed. From that point forward, it started to fall apart. And I can make the case that on paper right now, the Seattle Seahawks have fallen into being the worst team in their division? Because on paper it looks like it, because all of a sudden the Rams are it, man. They arrived last year. It looks like the 49ers are on the verge of becoming the 49ers again, right? And Arizona still has some talent. They're in need of a quarterback. I don't know. Are they going to draft one? Are they going to sign Kirk Cousins? I have no idea, but they're probably the third best team on paper, and this is the fourth best team on paper. And it feels like they're in flat-out, full-on rebuild mode on defense, right? It's all coming apart. I'm stunned by the totality of this because it hit me when I saw Michael Bennett. We've had him on the show a couple times. It's on the trade block. Is he not at least a leader of that defense?
Absolutely.
A driving force of that defensive line? Sometimes unblockable. So he's on the trade block, and Cam Chancellor is dealing with a potentially career-threatening neck injury. Cliff Averill, potentially career-threatening neck injury. Those are bad things for defensive players, obviously, for any player for that matter. Richard Sherman tore his Achilles. He ruptured his Achilles tendon. That's about as bad as it gets for a guy who needs some speed, right?
But a guy that was not a burner
He wasn't
to begin
with. Nope, I agree. And he has been on the trade block before,
Yes.
and I don't know what his future holds for him now in Seattle. And remember, Earl Thomas, last seen in the national spotlight, was running up the tunnel at Jerry World to catch Jason Garrett before he went in the locker room following the Seattle game at Jerry World, saying, Coach, I'd love to finish my career in Dallas, right? Come get me. Come get me? Earl Thomas? I mean, Mr. Seahawk. Nobody plays harder, covers more ground than Earl Thomas. He's gone through, it was now about 2 years ago, he suffered what was a career-threatening injury. He broke his leg.
Right.
And it was bad, man. And remember, he was tweeting about, I don't know if I'm going to make it back. He was considering retirement. And now I don't know what his future holds for him because he's going to want more money than they're going to want to pay him.
Correct.
He's already threatening to hold out a training camp. That's not good.
No.
So they acquired Sheldon Richardson last year, and he basically becomes their best defensive lineman, I guess. And he is now
Unrestricted.
He's unrestricted. And I'm pretty sure on the open market, he's going to command more dollars than they're going to want to pay for Sheldon Richardson.
Correct.
So I'm going to guess. I'm just going to guess he might be gone.
Right.
Then last year in the draft, in the second round, they drafted Malik McDowell, defensive lineman out of Michigan State, and he suffers a head injury in an ATV accident that was so serious he played no games last year, and they're saying it could be career-threatening. So he was supposed to have next in this line, and he might not play. Really? I just went through just about the whole defense.
Yeah. The only one that's there and healthy is Bobby Wagner.
Bobby Wagner.
But you know what, Skip? I think the thing is, if you go back and remember, Richard Sherman was dealing with a torn elbow ligament.
Yeah.
Cam Chancellor had that sprained MCL.
He did.
Earl Thomas was playing with that torn labrum. So they're saying, hold on, Pete. You know we're injured, and we're in line to win this game. That's what they mean. You sacrificed all our hard work. Because I can assure you, probably if that was a regular season game, they're not playing. They only played because that was the Super Bowl. And then who was that? Lane, one of the DBs, broke his leg in the game.
did.
So they're even further shorthanded.
You're right.
And they never, ever forgave Pete Carroll.
They didn't.
Because before that, you would never see them bucking on the sideline. You would never see them. They might say something behind closed doors.
Yep.
But at that point, after that, they was publicly. For you to say, I went to the head coach and I told him, you will not run that play. You will. What?
So he was such a player's coach.
Yes.
He gave them so much autonomy in the locker room that then they all used it and turned around on him. Again, do I think a lot of the Patriots are unhappy with Belichick for what he did to Malcolm Butler, not playing him a snap last year? Yeah, they're very unhappy. Are they going to openly challenge Bill Belichick next year? I will bet not.
Heck no.
Heck no.
And I think here's the thing, though, Skip. And again, had they won the game, had Coach Belichick won that game, they wouldn't give a passing thought. You see what happens when wins and losses?
No.
Because now all of a sudden, because I believe the frustration in New England's been going on for quite some time, Skip.
Yep.
But it's hard to complain when you go in 14-2, 13-3, and you win the Super Bowls every second or third year.
You're right.
So now all of a sudden, you're going to see this thing because they've never had this before. Tom Brady throws for 500. You have over 600 yards. You give up 41 points, and your expertise is on that side of the ball. We're going to talk about this a little later, what's going on in New England.
Yep.
But, Skip, I knew this was going to happen because you're that close. You're on the 1 yard line, and you throw an interception. Did you see? I mean, you saw Richard Sherman, just the anguish on his face. He just fell to his knees. Guys grabbed the helmet, and then all of a sudden, all hell broke loose, Skip, because remember, they tried to take a knee. And then guys just kept going, and then guys ended up getting thrown out the ball game.
Meanwhile, Tom Brady was jumping around on his sideline like an 8-year-old on Christmas morning, right?
And you know what, Joy? Check that computer. When is episode 6 coming out? I want to see episode 6.
Well, I told you it's going to be a theatrical production.
That thing, Joy, that thing going to have to be heavily edited.
Yeah. No, you're going to have to pay to see it at the theater.
Because
they're going to release it,
That's not the end.
It will be in next year's Academy Award.
I told you only Hollywood can write scripts like that, Skip. I tried to tell you this. He's not in Hollywood. That belongs to Kobe and LeBron. They executive producer.
Oh, okay. We'll see about that.
Oh, them elongated
So,
muscles.
once upon a time, not very long ago, I considered the Seattle Seahawks, especially their secondary, the greatest single trash-talking, intimidating unit that I'd ever seen.
Yes.
And your Ravens were right up there.
Yep.
But as a group, were they not intimidating? They told you what they were going to do to you, and then they just did it.
And it's not the same. Skip, you remember early on when this team first got together, you didn't go to Seattle and win a game. The Rams put 41 on them. Kirk Cousins missing all those weapons and 4 offensive linemen starters. They went up there. So
They did.
All of a sudden, the fear factor, the intimidation factor was no longer there. This is a different team. I'm not surprised. And piece by piece, you're going to see the Michael Bennett, you see the Earl Thomas, because I don't believe he's going to get the $70 million.
I agree. And the truth is, and this is very easy 20/20 hindsight on my part, but if the people in charge, John Schneider, even up to the owner, if they had been able to really see it coming, and you did, you were all over this from the start, you should have started to rebuild it quickly on the fly because it's not going to work anymore. It's mutiny. It's not, and obviously a lot of this is about injury. But sometimes injuries go hand in hand with unhappiness in the locker room, like nobody's right.
And plus the fact, Skip, they know you want to get rid of these pieces, so that you're not going to get the value that they're worth.
Yeah, I think they are really in a rough spot.
They are,
because now it's become Russell Wilson or a bust.
But
right?
I heard Jimmy Graham might be on the market.
Whew.
I mean, I don't know why you're going to take that weapon away from Russell. He needs an offensive line. He needs more offensive line help and a running back. That's what he needs, Skip. Because you can't keep running those. I mean, that's those plays that they're getting. They're not in the playbook. You don't say, okay, Russell, I want you to avoid the blitz, spin a pirouette 3 times, come back, and then throw the ball at the sideline.
Yeah, and he's never had a great set of receivers.
No. But
he hadn't had much of an offensive line. No. I just think it's come down to now Russell's got to make 7 plays a game or you're not going to have a chance.
Right. You're right.
Isn't it amazing, the ripple effect from that one single play?
One play changed the fortunes of a lot of people.
Yep. Next up, Lonzo Ball was back in the starting lineup.